Hey now.
You are now listening to the
Hey now. Hey now.
Hey now. Hey now.
Hey now.
Hey, hey, hey now.
Hey now.
Hey now.
Hey now.
Hey now. Hey now.
the Hey Now Media Podcast.
Yes.
Hey, what's up? It's Emma from Hey Now, and we're here with the Hey Now podcast.
Oh my God, what are you doing?
I'm taking over the podcast today.
Okay. Hey everyone, I'm Matt Brower, one of the owners and founder of Hey Now Media. I'm the marketing director, creative director, do a lot of sales, and looking forward to this podcast. Not sure what we have in store today. It was like 13 years ago. It wasn't Hey Now Media like what it is today. Maybe even like 14 years ago, but I had been managing bands and managing artists and really just putting together the media production piece behind them. A lot of the people that you had met early on were the ones working with those artists as well. And so I had just trying to figure that out was what was going on for a couple years. But 10 years ago was when we officially started the LLC and we registered it as Hey Now Media. I originally called it Hey Now Entertainment as an entertainment company. And so we moved to Hey Now Media, and around that time, that's when we, Ann was working with us. We brought in Sobel as an owner. We had a fourth owner, Kyle. But yeah, it's been 10 years.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so I started the business somewhat on my own, just trying to produce art and creative and managing artists and providing them with all of that type of service. And I very, very early on realized that in order to produce art and sell it as a product, you actually need to have that skill set. So I was bringing everything to the table, from the strategy to the vision, and knowing we needed to do certain things, but just I wasn't a graphic designer. I couldn't make a logo. I wasn't making a music video or anything like that. And so one of my friends was Kyle, and Kyle was a graphic designer, an art director, and he was the one who I brought in. We just split it 50-50. Like, hey, I will do all the sales, all the marketing, I'll do strategy work, I'll take care of everything except for actually producing the product, and you produce the product. And then it kind of led to, well, we need writers, and I'm not a writer. And so my wife, Ann, who you've known for a long time, she's a professional writer, she's a creative writer, and does other sorts of copywriting. So I was like, hey, why don't you be a partner? And you could do all the writing and manage that piece and the art piece with Kyle, and I'll continue doing the sales and the strategy stuff. I knew Sobel he was actually a teen when I must have been like 21, running a youth group.
I didn't know
here
that.
in Cleveland. Yeah. So from the time I graduated college, I was like 21 to about 26. I was doing that before I started this, and doing this at the same time as that as well. Just staying up all night, working on the music stuff and the entertainment stuff, kind of waking up, rushing to work, working during the day. And so Sobel was one of the teens. I think he was maybe a junior when I met him. And then he graduated, I continued on, and then he, went to college and came home. When he came home, I was showing him what I was doing, and we had always stayed in touch. And so he's always been extremely strategic. He has a marketing degree. So I was like, hey, why don't you be a partner too? In high school, I was in bands, and in college, our band was performing and we were touring, and I ran that band like a business. And I used my entrepreneurial skill sets. I actually had better managerial and entrepreneurial skill sets than I did musical talent. The entrepreneur in me saw that, Jaffe and my two other best friends didn't have a singer, so I became a singer. Yeah. It's like a horrible singer. And then
I could see that.
My other two roommates were drummer and guitar player, and they were insanely good. And I was like,
that's perfect then.
You don't have a bass. Like, how do you have a band with no bass? So I taught myself bass. All of my trial and error just in my hobbies as a kid that I was able to sort of take the job, because he was like, hey, take this job. And there was no training. There's no, literally, you're 21. I'm 2 weeks from graduation. I didn't even graduate yet. And they're like, all right, in 3 weeks, take a week off and then you'll start. I'm like, start what? What do I do? They're like, oh, don't you remember there was that adult when you were at that program? I was like, okay, I'll figure it out. So I've always figured things out. But I was able to really learn entrepreneurship through that job, because that job you had to be the accountant, the membership person, the programmer, the marketer, you name it, you were doing it. And it was just me and my boss who oversaw 5 different cities in Ohio, and I oversaw Cleveland. So I was doing that and doing all of the music stuff, which became Hey Now, like literally transitioned the music thing into Hey Now. It's that journey, and it's super cliche and it's kind of dumb to say, but like every time I'm looking forward to that end point and ignoring that journey, the end point seems kind of either disappointing, or things fall apart when you get to that end point. You have to rebuild. Like we literally just had the meetings last week restructuring
Yeah, it always seems
everything,
like that. Yeah.
right? And so it's okay. And this time it was nobody's fault. It was a complete shift in our entire world and society. Every single thing is different in marketing, starting in probably February. And so leading up to last year, the end of last year, we had everything in place. We had all our great processes. Everything was great.
Yeah, it's completely changed.
And then all of a sudden we're like, oh crap, March comes around, April comes around, and we're very behind in where the world is. And so instantly changing everything, catching back up, new platforms, new process, Meet, like all of that. To me, that's the thrill in entrepreneurship, and that's what's exciting to me. But it's also, you know, people don't like that. People don't like change. Like if there isn't that consistent process, it doesn't feel so stable. So it's been an interesting push and pull between like innovation and stability. And, you know, it's good for me to be on the like, everything's changing, we're learning, we're moving, but then trying to find the balance between that and stability for everyone else, I think is a really, you know, part of the roller coaster.